Jezebel writes to me, and that's a nice name, Jezebel. Jezebel writes to me, Dan, I saw your show on Cosmology where you had the four guys arguing about how the universe began, but I was disappointed when you didn't weigh in and give your opinion on who won the debate and which of the four theories you thought was the most interesting. Which was the most interesting and who won the debate? Well, this was a Dan Schneider video interview that I had done a few months back in August, almost 3 months ago, beginning of August. It had uh, four guys, Howard Bloom, Terence Witt, David Noel, and Ling-Jung Wang, talking about their different ideas of how the universe began. I had wanted to originally do a show wherein I had people who were defenders of the Big Bang, the current model of how the universe began, taking on one or two of the outsiders. But I ended up with just the four outsiders because the Big Bang people were scared. They were pussies. And I contacted some of the biggest names, and it was really shameful how some of them reacted. They did not want to be able to defend their positions. They acted as if the Big Bang was somehow on a par with evolution in being settled, and it's simply not. That being said, I've opined to a certain degree. The closest of the four theories to the Big Bang was Howard Bloom's Big Bagel, which was really an extension of the Big Bang, and taking it that things then, as they exploded, turned back on themselves and were drawing each other towards each other. And that explains some of the things we see in the universe today. And I think there's a plausible ness to that, plausibility to it. I think Bloom is an interesting guy with an interesting mind. I think that there are things, though, that the Big Bang fails at, and I don't have the time to get into them, that his model also has inherently wrong with it. Terence Witt's model, when I reviewed his book, and when I did a written interview with him, I laid out some of the flaws, I think, with his take on it. And basically, I think that his is more really a philosophical approach to the universe than an approach that is verifiable through what's observed now. He has claimed that his model is falsifiable, and if you listen to the show, he explains that. And I think certain aspects of his null physics will certainly end up being incorporated into a new universal paradigm, but I think overall it probably won't. Again, I don't have the time to go into it here. David Noel's and Ling-Jun Wang's visions of the universe are almost identical to me from what I could tell. They had slight differentiations, and I think they, in a sense, are updated versions of the steady state, although neither of them uses that term. So I think it's all four of them are sort of like the four blind men who see parts of the picture. And I think if you take the Big Bang, if you take the multiverse, or omniversica, the omniversical view of the universe, if you take their four views of the universe, I think they all see parts of what's out there. I think there's going to be a new vision of the universe that comes along in the next 40 or 50 years. I don't know what it will be in toto, but I think it was important to have the debate. So I don't think anyone really won that debate. Howard Bloom declared Terence Witt as the star of the debate. Ling-Jun Wang was quiescent for most of the debate, then really took off towards the last 30 or 40 minutes. David Noel was probably the least enthused in terms of participating about the debate, and Howard Bloom was very well spoken. He was the most comfortable on camera. So, in terms of just the Q rating, I think probably Bloom and Witt handle themselves the best overall over the 3-hour debate. But again, it's one of those things that I don't think there really was any winner. I think the winner was the viewer and the listener for having that debate put out there. And that's what the Dan Schneider video interviews and Cosmoetica is all about.